And we are here on another episode of the Patriot Podcast. Today, we are joined by myself, of course, Justin Bayless. I'm one of the co-founders of Patriot. And we have Brandon Zarzecki, our other co-founder here. Brandon, you want to give a brief intro on yourself, your background? I'll do the same, and we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah. So, Brandon Zarzecki, one of the co-founders as well. Justin and I met in college at James Madison University. I don't know. We sort of met in like a photography, videography group. Yep. Was it like a group me or something?
Yep. Started a little photo group for all the photo nerds out there in school. Yep.
I don't even know how we met. Was it like a Facebook group that we just initially joined, and then it was a group me, and then...
I remember you messaged me because I was doing a little bit of video stuff, and I remember you wanted me to film like a donut dash.
For triathlon club.
Yep.
Yeah, and then you turned it down.
Yeah, yeah. I was like, Brandon invited me, and I said no, and then I think the next year you invited me, and I said no again.
You said no. Yeah, we couldn't get a videographer for it. We ended up doing it ourselves, but I don't know. We at least kept in touch, and then we went up to like, what was that mountain we did photography at? It was Reddish Knob.
Yep.
Yeah, so we did Reddish Knob, and then we stayed in touch for whatever other projects we were working on, and then we both graduated same time. I went right to work I was interning for 3 years prior at a car dealership, and then I went full time there, which is where I reside now. But then
why don't you go into like, what do you do there? What do you do at the dealership?
Well, yeah, so it's a luxury car dealership. So I manage all of the digital, social media advertising, creating content for brands like Lexus, BMW, Mercedes. And it's fun. I get to work with a lot of cool cars, a lot of very expensive cars, but it's a fun way to be able to like figure out how to market very expensive vehicles to different clients. And of course, there's a range of different vehicles. So like more budgeted vehicles that you're trying to target those specific people, and then very, very expensive 100,000, 200,000 plus vehicles, you're trying to target those people. So it takes a skill to be able to curate ads and content to get different people to come and buy a car.
It's a lot of that digital, or is it like physical billboards, signs?
It's everything. It's mostly like my boss or colleague, he does a lot of like the actual billboards, but I help him too with any type of content that needs to go out. So it could be print, it could be social. I tend to focus on a lot of social, which is great for us now with Patriot because it's a digital first company. But yeah, I mean, right after college, went right into where I had interned. I was fortunate enough to get a full-time job offer, went right in there. But I think, you stayed at JMU after college.
Yep. I was kind of hanging out, just wasting time.
Yeah.
My now wife, Lexi, was still in school, and I was one of those kids who just never moved on with their life. I was still living in a college town after I graduated.
Yeah, but you were selling cars too.
Yeah, so grinding. I started getting into some random stuff for work. I was doing videography right out of school. I'd started actually my sophomore year of college doing weddings and doing videography professionally, which is funny because I was going to school to do what I was already doing professionally at the time. So. But after I graduated, things kind of slowed down a little bit. COVID happened, of course, and that just messed up everything with a lot of events that I was filming and working on. So video work kind of dried up, and got into random stuff. So started flipping watches. I had a roommate who was into that, and he helped me get started with that. So
it's profitable.
It is. I mean, you can be very profitable. I mean, he was doing crazy numbers at the time as like a junior in college, more money than I'd ever seen. He was just rolling every month. But so you buy watches that are either used or new sometimes, and you resell them on these Facebook groups, and there's like a lot of trust involved in that, of course, because they're valuable watches. But you're just basically using your reputation, and if you screw someone over, they're gonna
never gonna recommend you again.
You're kicked out the groups, and you're not gonna have a business anymore. So, anyways, that was interesting. Learned a lot there. Then I got into flipping couches. I saw this YouTube video and I was like, this is a quick way to earn cash, and I was in need of cash. So I was like,
hey, you can flip anything.
Yeah, you can. I mean, people with couches specifically, people will sell them for dirt cheap because they might have bought them for $2,000, and then like a couple years later they're like, I just want this out because it's a big piece of furniture. So they'll sell it for like $50, $100, and then you could flip that for $300, $400, $500, $600, whatever. Right. Like you can make some good money doing it.
Yeah, you could.
Got into selling cars, and then I remember I was at the car dealership. I was working there, and I was doing decently well. I was kind of learning the ropes with sales, and um, I started getting more and more work with my weddings again. Things were picking back up after COVID, and other video work as well. I was getting a little busier, and that's conflicting with the car dealership, because at the car dealership, as you know, like with salespeople, like they're there almost every single day. It's like at least usually 6 days a week, 10-hour days. Yeah, and it's very time intensive, and Saturdays are like the biggest day at the dealerships.
Right.
And they wanted me there on Saturdays, but that's when all my weddings were that I was filming.
Conflict.
So definitely a conflict there, and it got to the point where I was getting booked up enough, and we wanted to move back to Richmond. And I told the managers there, I was like, I like this, but I think I think I need to go do this other thing. And they were like, we like you a lot. We want you to stay. We think you could be really good at this. We see a lot of potential in you. And I'm like, I get that, but I feel like I have a calling and a passion for videography, and like I'm very skilled at it. Like I'm not trying to brag. Like I know I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And I felt like ignoring that is just like to do sales that, not to hate on sales, I love sales, but anyone can learn sales.
Yeah.
There's not like a trade there of sorts. It's something that anyone can pick up. Whereas I've had all these years put in with videography. So anyways, I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna have to go and do this. So we moved back to Richmond, and since then I've been killing it with videography and growing my business, doing real estate and retainer clients for corporate ads and wedding still, all kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so we kind of reconnected. We'd always been in contact. We kind of reconnected. I don't remember when, probably like 2022-ish.
Yeah, it was right around when we started doing stuff for Island Tribe, I think.
Yeah, so you want to talk about Island Tribe and the story there?
Yeah, I mean, so the reason we got in touch with, it's Ming, who's technically like, he's not, I guess he's not true family. He's like a family friend, but on the Filipino side of my family, everyone's considered family. Like
everyone's an uncle.
Literally everyone's an uncle. Like Aunt Ding, Uncle Bong, like they're all like related somehow.
Brandon has the whole alphabet in his family. He's
this is true.
Ding dong, ping pong.
Yeah, literally that's the Filipino side of my family, and like we just get a laugh out of it because when my grandmother came over here, and that's I guess a big part of Patriot, like the inspiration. She came over during the nursing boom of, what was it, like the 60s, I want to say, maybe even earlier than that. But there was a big nursing boom. Filipinos were coming over here, and that whole side of my family settled in New Jersey. Yep. And obviously they moved out, went all over the place. And when my grandmother passed away back in, 2021? Yeah. When she passed away in 2021, that's where I was like, I want to do something to honor her. And not only honor her, but the grandfather on my other side of the family passed away right around then as well. So it was like a double whammy. It was not sitting well with me mentally, but it was inspirational because I thought, hey, Grandpa was a Marine, Grandma was a nurse. Obviously, your wife's a nurse. We have a lot of family and friends that served. And I just felt like there's a huge opportunity here to honor these groups. And that's when I was like texting you when we were already working on a bunch of other projects. But beyond that, the whole entrepreneurial spirit definitely stemmed, I think, a lot from when we worked on Island Tribe, which was just a...
And we saw an example. I want to cut in here for a second. Yeah. We saw an example of what we don't want to do with Island Tribe. And no disrespect to your Uncle Ming if he's watching this. Ming, we love you. Yeah. He's a great guy. But we also saw how there were things that weren't being done that we felt like we could improve upon. And yeah. I
mean, the brand itself, I felt like was a great brand. It was, for anyone that's listening, the whole premise of Island Tribe was that it was a lifestyle brand that was selling t-shirts, hats, flip-flops, and a portion of their sales would go to support those in island nations in need. And I thought, this is an amazing mission. I'm Filipino, hit that whole side of my family. I have, tons of respect for coming over here. They're all immigrants. They're all very patriotic people, Filipinos. They love this country. And there was just a lot of issues with regard to doing direct-to-consumer sales, using an e-commerce website, being able to market it effectively and target people who would have an interest in a brand that gave back to Polynesian people, Asian descent, people that are living in these island communities. It's really tough to target people in the United States and say, please please care about these other people. So that's really where the challenge lied. I thought the mission and the brand was fantastic. Loved the logo, loved everything we were doing, and we got a lot of experience out of it. We curated great content and social.
Made websites.
Yeah.
I mean, we learned how to run on social media. We learned how to run sales and ads
Yep.
and market a product.
Right. But the challenges were trying to be able to figure out, hey, how do we create demand for something like this and make people care about it when they may not necessarily connect with the brand image itself. Like, you can target people in Hawaii because Hawaii is an island, it's part of the United States, and it's closer to the Polynesian countries. But to be able to target mainland United States, people in Texas, New Jersey, etc., how do you get them to care about these island nations? It's really tough. But it allowed us to get experience, real world experience, working for a real company that then we said to ourselves, hey, Ming, love everything you're doing, but we need to take a step back and we're going to go do something else. And that's what we did. Yep. And what was the timeline between that? Maybe it was
time passed. I mean, it was probably, I would think 6 months, a year.
To a year, yeah.
Yeah, it was a little bit of time. And I know you had started Gritty Patriot already.
Yeah, the Gritty Patriot was, I mean, I think it was a terrible failure, but it allowed me to be able to figure out, hey, this is a website that I wanted to create good news, because the news is always divisive. The news is basically just it's a clickbait machine to be able to create articles to say, hey, click here, and then you monetize it with ads. But I wanted to create a website called The Gritty Patriot, which I did. I paid a lot of money for someone to create the website, and then I started to churn out a few articles here and there. But I figured out very fast to create an article every single hour of the day to be able to keep up with the news cycle is just not possible. And this is before ChatGPT. I couldn't just go in there and say, create me an article on X, Y, and Z and just spit out an article and then post it. Yeah. I had to literally go in there and type up every article, make sure I source myself, make sure I show actual facts. And it just wasn't possible while I'm working a full-time job.
And getting people to come read a blog is difficult, I'm sure. I mean, I wasn't working on this with you at the time, but I imagine like, it's different putting out videos on like social media. Like they can be eye catching. It can get people's attention. It can go viral very easily. Yep. With a blog post or a story, like an article.
Algorithm.
Yeah, there's no algorithm. I mean, the algorithm's Google. Yeah. But getting eyeballs on those articles, I'm sure is challenging.
Yeah, you have to have crazy SEO, which is a whole nother part of the website. So if you're not actively trying to rank your blog posts, you're not going to go anywhere. And if you don't have advertisers, you're not going to make any money. Yeah. So that website, it totally went defunct very quickly. But it, again, another building block to being able to create Patriot Seltzer. It allowed another inspiration to say, hey, look, if we're going to create a website, if we're going to create any type of media that's going to go out there, this is how we're going to do it. So I think even though it failed, it allowed us to have another stepping stone to move forward. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess, fast forward from that to the day that I think I texted you. I was driving home from work and I thought, why is nobody doing a beverage on the alcohol side that is doing something very similar to Black Rifle? Because we have a lot of inspiration from Black Rifle and we respect the guys a lot that created that company, being very unapologetic in how they portray themselves. And I think I sent you a text and I was like, I know we're working on some other projects right now, but do you want to do this? And I think you were like, let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah. So at the time, for a little bit more background, we had worked on another project between Island Tribe and Patriot. We worked on a app that we had. I believe it was my idea, but we immediately brought you in, and I wanted to make. We talked to your uncle about this. We wanted to make a app for those who are listening. It's already been done, so I'm just going to share the idea. We wanted to make an app that basically my concept was people go on road trips all the time, and I love to go on road trips, especially like long distances. I love to make like a thing out of it, and like if there's cool stops along the way, I want to see those. And I thought if people are going like cross country road trips, especially, like there's all these places in between that they could see, and they might not know about all of them. Like they might not know there's this beautiful waterfall in Iowa. Like, I mean, I don't think there's much in Iowa, but you get the point. Like, there's beautiful scenery and monuments and landmarks all across the country. And the idea was we would populate this all into one place, one app, and it could have these natural things to go see. It could have really cool stores or restaurants along the way, and you could pick and choose what you wanted along your route. We would call it the scenic route. That was the idea we had. And very soon we figured out doing something like this, creating an app, not only is it very costly to create, it's very costly to have the upkeep of that app, because you're having to pay, in this case, we're having to pay Google Maps or Google's API system or whatever it is for the monthly use of those apps and generating the maps. So it's very costly. And your uncle was like, yeah, this is cool, but how are you going to find users, and how are you going to market this, and how are you going to find the money for this? So, long story short, it didn't happen. And at the same time, we were kind of working on Patriot a little bit towards the end. We were like, we have both of these things. And we were like, let's ditch scenic route.
Yeah, well, we dumped time and money into it. It's not like we just said, oh, we're just going to give up. We had the wireframes done. We actually hired someone to go out and create them. It's, but at the same time, again, it's another stepping stone. So you keep trying to do something, and it's like, okay, if it's not working, you don't say, well, we failed. You pivot, and we figured out, hey, this doesn't look like it's going to go anywhere. Let's pivot. Let's try this. And then that's when we literally went full force into Patriot. And that's when I started contacting, like, neither of us have beverage experience, but I was like, well, where do we start with this? So what do? Well, I went to a local brewery, and I was like, hey, can you guys do hard seltzer? And they were like, we can, technically, but it's going to be very basic. It'll be like a lemon lime. It'll be like very expensive because we're doing everything in-house. Do you have cans? And we didn't know anything. We didn't know even where to start.
I think you started a little bit of this too before I came kind of aboard.
Yeah, I started doing just like very basic baseline research.
And you're talking to, there's like a liquor store that you'd talk to that was like, I love the idea. Like, we'll take it if you make it.
Yeah, no, they loved the concept. And the concept was very bare bones at that point. It was literally just, hey, we're going to create a patriotic beverage, beverage that we think would fill a void in the market, because no one's doing we didn't even have whiskey at that time. No one's doing a Black Rifle type of beverage. But you could talk about the whole Proud Patriot section, because that's a huge part of the brand itself.
What I want to say first, so you reached out to me with that basic concept, and you were like, I have this idea to make a patriotic beverage brand, which very much aligns with me and my interests and my family is served in various capacities, and very important cause to me, and I thought it was a great concept. I would say also something that I was thinking about at the time was like, I had this desire, this urge to pour myself into something, building something. Like, I wanted to build something. Like, I have my media company, which is doing well. It was paying the bills. It was doing just great, but it wasn't quite like do enough for me. Like, I wanted to truly, like I said, build something. And this concept, I felt like I could pour my skills, my media marketing skills combined with your digital marketing skills. Like, we could pour our skills cumulatively together into making something. I felt like it was just like, this is what we decided to dive head on into. It wasn't like, oh, let's kind of dabble our feet. Like, it's like, let's do this. And we didn't realize nearly how complicated it was. Like you said, we were talking to breweries like, oh, can this random brewery down the street make a hard seltzer for us? And not even close to how it works. And
not at all.
I think...
But did you think pivoting to a tangible object, because I remember we had this conversation at least once or twice, being able to hold a product as opposed to it being like a software or something digital. I mean, did you think that having a tangible object allowed us to, I don't know, use our skills to like the fullest extent as opposed to being strictly digital?
I think it was a lot more fun. I think it was more fun to create and make and sell when we have something physical. But also, I think it just selling a product, I feel like was what we were meant to work on. Like, we were meant to use our skills and our backgrounds for this. Like, it's a great fit. Like, we have the media marketing skills to push and build the product. We built our social media. Like, I feel like we're a perfect fit for founders of a company for a product. And so,
to build a brand around something.
We built the brand first. That was the big thing. But I know early on we were talking to some breweries, and then I remember I was just like, Googling like how to create a beverage, and like I figured out there's co-packers, and co-packers, for those who don't know, are manufacturers that create our product for us. They are the beverage canning facilities. Usually the way it works is they accumulate all of the ingredients and raw materials. So we send them cans, we send them the whiskey, we send them all of the different ingredients, and we pay them a fee to batch it and make it all and can it. And so anyways, I saw co-packers were a thing. So I was like, largest co-packers in the country. And I found like this place, it was Blue Marble. And I called them and I was like, hey, how do we make a beverage? Basically, I was like, how do you make a beverage? And luckily I ended up talking to this guy who was the VP, I believe, at that company. And they're a huge company. They're like the second largest co-packer in the country. And he was like actually helpful. He gave me he just started spewing off information. Like, this is how you do this. This is how you do this. It's how much money you need. And he had said back then like $20 million. And I remember I was like, there's
no way.
Like, he's got to be wrong.
Yeah.
There's no way that's possible.
Yeah.
There's no way people just find $20 million to do this. And it turns out he's probably not too far off from the truth. But
yeah.
Anyways, that kind of, that wasn't everything, but that kind of helped us a little bit to get a little more of that knowledge on where to go, what to do. We definitely realized we needed to create a product from scratch. We had to create our liquid for our can, for our hard seltzer. We had to make the actual liquid, and that comes with a price of finding a flavor development company and having them craft our ingredients and craft our formulas. And do you want to talk about that process and what we did there?
Yeah, I mean, I think neither one of us knew just how intricate it is to create flavors. And after going to the brewery and the brewery telling me, yeah, we could do lemon lime, like, it's just going to be extremely basic. Like, we're literally going to just take lemon and lime juice and mix it into a carbonated alcoholic beverage. And I thought, oh, okay, I guess that's what it is. No, if you want to create real true flavors that you see on the market, stuff that people really want to drink, you got to go to a flavor house. Yep. So we were researching left and right. We ended up going to a flavor house in Chicago, and we spent almost 10, 11 hours there. We were there all day. It was like from early morning until late in the evening. We ended up going out to dinner with the chemists that work with us. Yep. And I didn't even know that world existed, which is crazy. Like, there's people who actually go to school, like chemistry,
flavor science.
Yeah, flavor science school. And there's a whole industry behind it. And it's some of the biggest brands in the world, ice cream brands, bread brands, soups. They all use these big flavor houses to not just create the product itself, but to enhance the flavors. So like if you're eating chocolate ice cream, it's not just cocoa powder in there. They're using enhancers, and they're using all of these other portions of flavor development to create these really good flavors. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, we spent all day there. We were going back and forth. They'd give us saltine crackers, and then you'd eat those to like cleanse your palate between each tasting. And then we were just fine tuning a bunch of different things. I think what were we stuck on the most? Was it the
I think the peach tea.
The peach tea.
I think the tea, because Lexi and rightfully so was like, this is the flavor that I was most looking forward to. Like this was my flavor. I was so excited we were making this. And she was like, this just does not taste the way I anticipated and expected it to. And to be fair, we never got it to that. She still is not a fan of it. But there's so many people out there. I love it. You love it. 90+% of people love it. So we might have to fine tune and tweak that in the future. But yeah, it's just funny. Like that was probably the problem child. And I think it's because of the tea, supposedly.
It's a real black tea.
It's hard to create like a good tea flavor that's not like bitter and like...
Yeah, because I remember the chemist was telling us it's because we are combining peach, real black tea, and whiskey, and those three are each very distinct. So to combine them into one flavor is really tough. And I remember one of the exercises they brought out to us. Remember they gave those little sticks with like the different scents on them, and we would smell, and then you would taste at the end, and then they would say this is all part of the sort of development process where like your senses are all involved with the curation of flavors. And it's mind-blowing stuff, because you don't actually think about any of this when you eat food from the store. But then you learn how this stuff actually comes to be. It's like, man, there's a lot that goes behind the scenes to create a cherry flavor to create a lemonade. It's not just let's squeeze lemons into a can and then mix it in with some whiskey. Like there's a lot more to it. Yeah. But it was fun. I thought that was awesome.
Absolutely. It was one of the coolest experiences I think I've ever had in my life.
Yeah.
Like, that and seeing our product going through the production line for the first time. But yeah, very cool experience. And so jumping forward, we did our first, we created our flavors, created our formulas. We did a small sample run of a couple different cans. We were trying to send those out to investors. We still had no clue what we were doing. We fiddled our way through another couple months. Then we had this big event coming up, big charity event, and we wanted to have cans there as like kind of like a announcement, like soft launch of our product, and tell people there's gonna be hundreds of people there. We're gonna tell them like this is our product. We give back, of course, and tell the story about the brand. And we had to get this production run done, and that was like a freaking nightmare from day one. Like just going through the ringer every step of the way. And for those who don't know, like creating a beverage company, if you have a lot of money, I'm sure it's not hard at all.
Yeah.
But for us, and for maybe a lot of people, I don't know, who don't have unlimited budgets, like you're trying to figure out how to do everything in the most cost-effective way. And
you're bootstrapping.
Creating a beverage is not a cost-friendly thing. So yeah, I mean, we have this third-party company who's supposed to be creating doing our sample run for us, and it was costing about what, 50 grand, 30 grand, something along those lines. Yeah. So we forked out all this money, and we are trying to get this thing going along. And like a month or two goes by, and we're like, what progress has been made? And they're like, oh, don't worry about it. Like, we're working on it. We got it. And we're like, we're getting really close. We're a couple weeks out now from this production run. And we're like, is this going to happen? Like, are we going to be okay? Is this actually going to get made in time? Because this is very important to us. And they were like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. Like, we got it. Like, we're taking care of it all. Yeah. And then we're like a week out from our supposed production run, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm starting to get concerned, like X, Y, and Z isn't going to come in time. And I'm like, what the I was so pissed. I was like, this is not okay. You messed this up. We paid you a lot of money. You need to fix this. And I don't need to go into all the details, but like we
probably had at least 20 phone calls in 1 week.
A day, I think. Maybe it's like 20 phone calls a day. I mean, I'm calling like the place who's supposed to be manufacturing it, like have they contacted you with this information? And then I'm calling the other people. Like I was just calling everyone, trying to like coordinate when we paid someone else to do it, and they just weren't doing it. So I was having to call and get everything set up. And for our very first production run, it was very stressful, but it ended up working out. We got product, well, kind of. We had the product made, and then you had to go pick it up.
Yeah, I got a U-Haul. And I went all the way up to Massachusetts, and within 24 hours, I went up there, got it, and came all the way back to New Jersey. Not 24 hours.
The night before the event.
Like within 12 hours, and went all the way up there, got it, and came back. Yeah. And then I think I pulled in the driveway. It was like almost midnight, and then we got right up the next morning to bring the product to the event at the golf course, unloaded it, and we got it to the event, which was the most important thing.
It was just in time.
Literally just in time.
But it was the coolest thing, like seeing you, because you went to go pick it up, and I had driven up to your house while you were gone and getting it. But you came back with this box truck with our first pallet of product in it. It was the most beautiful sight.
One pallet.
We were so excited.
Yeah.
But that event went well. Yep. And let's see. After that was November of 2023. Let's see. After that, we were trying to find investment to actually launch, because we realized, okay, we need at least $100,000 to launch, probably bare minimum. And we were talking to different people on and on. It was just a back and forth. We talked to this one investor. We met him at Topgolf a couple different times, and we kind of got strung along a little bit there. Learned some lessons that some people are not always. They might feel like it's like I think a couple different times we felt like we had someone on the hook ready to go to invest. We were like, this is locked down, and then it didn't end up working out. And so I think we learned our lesson there of like,
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Don't put all your eggs in one basket, and don't put too much faith in someone until you see the money, literally.
Yeah, or if they need to provide value. We've learned that multiple times. Yeah. Don't put too much faith into anybody or any entity. It could be a company too, if they don't actually show you any value ahead of time.
And some investors are also going to want you to change. They're going to want us and had asked us to change our fundamental views on the company,
Right.
the way we wanted to do things, and it's like taking money from the devil. Like,
Yeah.
you got to say no.
Yeah.
The money might be there, but if the cause isn't right, if the deal isn't right,
Yeah.
you have to
Walk
say
away.
no. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, a couple times we like thought we had it locked down, fell through. Thought we had it locked down, fell through. Eventually, we decided we were able to, through a couple different connections, do a friends and family round of funding. We raised $100,000 on the dot, I believe, cumulatively, and we did our first production run. So we paid this company in Massachusetts to manufacture it, our co-packer. We sourced cans, we sourced all our ingredients, ordered them, had them sent there. And in October of 2024, we did our first production run. 2-3 weeks later, we were on shelves in New Jersey.
Right.
Yeah, very cool. How did that feel when we finally had our
It was
product
awesome.
on the shelf?
Well, it was great until we found out that the UPC codes didn't scan.
Yeah, we thought like every step of the way in this beverage journey, it's been like we thought we had something good.
And then a dumpster
we thought
fire
we were
happens.
set. Dumpster fire. Yeah, it's like there's always another hurdle, another obstacle around the corner. Like you can never just sit back and relax. Like, all right, we're good. We
thought we
did
were.
our work.
We did the production run. We got into our distributor. The distributor brought it to all of our brand new retail locations.
And then we get a call saying they're not scanning.
Yep, the cans don't scan. Thousands and thousands of cans that are out right now do not scan. So I said, what are we going to do? We need a solution.
And not just the ones that were already there, like that we'd already sent. Like there was still unmade there's cans we'd ordered and paid for that were sitting in Boston, hadn't even been manufactured yet, that we knew weren't going to scan even when they got there. So it was 40,000 cans that we had run that didn't scan with the barcode.
Couldn't check them out. So the short-term solution, and I have to thank my brother for it. He was home from college at that time, and we said, look, we need to print out like thousands of these UPC codes and start putting them on the cans. So we weren't able to actually get to Staples to print these in time. So what did we do? We actually printed out just little index cards, and my brother went around to the accounts that we were in. Thank God we weren't in hundreds of accounts yet. And he literally brought them to the retailers and said, hey, if Patriot comes to the cash register, use this index card, one for each flavor, to scan and check them out. And it worked. It actually was a really good temporary solution. It bought me enough time, about a week, before I could go to Staples and print thousands and thousands of these stickers that I then went to the distributor. And you guys helped too.
One by one. Yeah, we had one by one. We had to put the stickers on the 4-packs of
Every
our product.
4-pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
It was not fun, but it was I mean, we deserved it. We screwed up. Lesson learned, we need to check our barcodes, make sure they scan before we print thousands of cans. But we'll never make the mistake again. I think that was something that's like one time.
Oh, you live and you learn.
Yeah. But let's see. What other obstacles have we run into? Well, I mean, I think just the entire process of selling, it was very interesting. We had that launch weekend. And Jason was down here. We went to do a bunch of different tastings at different liquor stores, and it was all exciting. And it was like, this is being well received. We're getting some sales for the first time ever. But then we left, and I mean, you still live here, but Jason and I left, and we're kind of going back to our regular stuff, and things kind of slowed down a little bit after that. And I think we learned, I mean, not that we expected it to be easy, but the more you get into stuff, the more you realize how complicated it is. Like when tastings aren't being done at liquor stores, when someone is not there selling the product physically, or there's not signs and banners and posters and all kinds of marketing materials, the product doesn't, and it's not our fault. It's not like our product's a bad product or it's a bad brand. It doesn't sell because people don't know it's there.
Right.
It's different if you're established, like your White Claw, Truly, High Noon, your Budweiser, your Miller Lite.
Awareness.
Like, and people know them. They're already going into the store looking for those. They've been established. But when you're a small brand that is new and no one has heard of you, you have to have some sort of promotional materials and marketing materials and or, like I said, someone there physically doing samplings and tastings to let people know about the product. Yeah,
because in most stores that we were in, and I remember I don't think it was the first weekend we did tastings. It was, in the very beginning, one of the liquor stores we went to, and I think the guy said to us, "Oh yeah, you're on the floor in the back of the store," and we're all like, "Seriously, we're on the floor?"
Yeah, that's what you get being a new beverage company.
That's where you start. You start on the floor.
The floor in the back,
but
no one's gonna see you.
No one's gonna see you, and you have to prove yourself. And we did that. I remember that tasting. The guy was like ecstatic towards the end of it. He had a lot of respect for us, And he was like, yeah, your real estate just got improved to the penthouse. So we got cold storage, which was fantastic. It was eye level in the cold storage, and we were no longer on the floor anymore.
Most of the stores seem to be pretty receptive too. It's like if we go in there, we do a tasting, we sell a bunch of product, they'll put us wherever we want.
Right.
Like they're pretty much like I think a big part of that is they don't have personal words aren't coming out. Personal relationships with the big companies. They don't like. There's not people from White Claw usually, to my knowledge, going into stores and doing tastings personally. No. Like, I don't think they do a whole lot of that. I don't think Budweiser does that type of stuff. So like they don't have a personal relationship with those companies. Whereas when we're in there physically, we're the owners and we're in there doing tastings and spreading the word about the product. If we can get it to sell even a little bit, they're like, cool, let's put you wherever you want. Right. Like if you want eye level in this cooler here, you want one of our display stands right in the front door when you walk in, like, sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's the benefit I think that we've learned from quite literally having boots on the ground and going door to door. And we've heard that from lots of industry experts that have told us stories like Tito's. He was pounding the pavement, going door to door, and it worked. And obviously, not every beverage company is going to be successful, but I think what we've found out very quickly is that if you are going door to door, going to not just liquor stores, but going to restaurants, interacting with management, talking with people there, they do have a lot more respect, knowing, oh my God, you guys are the owners. That's so cool. Like, okay, we'll bring your brand in. Like, we'll try it. We'll trial it out, as opposed to sending a rep in there or somebody, even from a distributor, who doesn't necessarily have the direct connection to the brand. They're just selling the brand. They see the owners walk in and it's like, wow, this is kind of cool. We're actually meeting the owners. They don't want to see any other people. They want to meet the owners of the brand.
Yeah, and it can't always be us, but we did learn, even if they're just wearing a Patriot shirt and they're like a rep,
it goes
a rep
long
for
way.
us or related to us somehow, like, yeah, it's just the fact that it's someone from our brand.
It's
not a distributor. It's not some random salesperson from some agency. It's a Patriot person going in there. So going forward, we have moved on. We were with a very small distributor initially. Yep. We've grown. We've gotten sales. We got new accounts, and we were fortunate enough through our connections to move into the largest distributor in the state now. We're starting to see some really cool success really quickly there.
Yep.
And what I want to hear from you what your goals are for the brand going forward. Like, what do you see us doing in New Jersey and beyond, like a year from now?
Well, at least in New Jersey, because I'm the New Jersey guy on this team, I would love to get down the shore. I would love to hammer those accounts really hard, because in New Jersey, even though the shore is very seasonal, like literally this upcoming Memorial Day, that's the start of the season. That's when the shore is jam-packed from there until Labor Day weekend. I would love to see us expand like crazy down there. I think we'll do very well there. Ocean County, Monmouth, that whole area. But beyond the shore, I would love to expand up north too. And like beyond Hunterdon County, Warren County, Sussex County, I think if we could blanket the state, what we've also learned is you want to go really deep before you go wide when it comes to distribution. So I think we really need to just blanket this state. We started in the state. We may not be profitable in the state, but that doesn't matter. If we can establish ourselves to sort of have this as like our home base and have a ton of demand here, we could use that momentum and go elsewhere, whether it's Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, etc. I think just being able to say, look, we've blanketed New Jersey, we've got incredible demand, and we've got loyal customers who keep coming back. We've got great velocity. It's coming off the shelves. With all of that momentum, we could use it to get into larger distributors, like nationally. We could get into much larger distributors and say, look, we've proved this concept in this state alone, and
it's not an easy state. It's very different, because some of these other states, I was just thinking about like Virginia. We're seen as a different category of product in Virginia, so we can be, like in New Jersey, we can only be in liquor stores. In Virginia, we can be in grocery stores and gas stations, which are chains. Like you got 7-Elevens and Walmarts and Kroger's and those type of places, Target, we can be in those, and they're chains. So like if you land one, theoretically, you're going to land all of them.
Right.
And I think, not that it's easier by any means, but it's a simpler thing, because you just try to land a couple chains and you've got hundreds of accounts across the state. Here in New Jersey, it's very different, because we have to be in independently owned liquor stores.
Right.
And bars, of course, bars and restaurants too, which there are some chain restaurants. But the liquor stores, for the most part, the biggest chains are like 10, 15. Like, there's not any bigger than that. And there's like 1,500, 2,000 liquor stores across the state.
Right.
The biggest chains are like 10 or 15. So there's really no massive chain. So it's a lot of like grassroots. It's like talking to these mom and pop liquor stores here and there that, like, if you go in there, like you said, and talk to them personally, we can build those relationships. So I think this state is very different, very much more grassroots approach, penetrating locally in these small communities than other states. But yeah, I think going beyond New Jersey, obviously, like you said, our next goals are to go into Virginia, Tennessee, Florida, Texas, possibly. The Carolinas, I think, are going to be great for us. But overall, we have a vision for the brand of becoming, one day, we're very early on, of course, but one day we have the vision of becoming a nationally recognized staple in the beverage industry. We want to be a Budweiser of the industry. We want to be a brand that is here to stay. And while that may be us running the company 5-10 years from now, maybe someone else run the company, but the goal is this Patriot is going to live past us and live beyond us. And we feel like it's such a, it's niche, but not niche. It's like, it's patriotic, of course, but that applies to everyone and everything. Like everyone in this country has some reason to be patriotic and love this country. So let's bring it back full circle. What does the word patriotic and patriot mean to you? Oh, sorry. Let's do one thing at a time. What does the word patriot mean to you?
I think it's just very simple: love for one's country, and I think everyone can get behind that, no matter what race, creed, religion, political affiliation you are. If you're a patriot, you love the country, and I think that's what we set forth from the very beginning. We said the brand's not going to lean one way or the other. It doesn't matter if you love this country, if you love the people that support us every single day, whether they are, veterans, fire, police, first responder, nurse, EMS, that's like what Jason always says, they're the protector community. Those people that often do go unrecognized, they are the backbone of the country. And I think being a patriot, being somebody that supports them the way they support us as civilians, I mean, that's what our brand is all about, and I think that's what patriotism is all about.
Yeah, definitely. I think we'll add in there that you don't have to be serving in the military. You don't have to be a nurse, a firefighter, a police officer. Well, those things are great. We encourage anyone to serve in any capacity they can or are called to do. I think being a patriot can also just be an everyday person that serves in some way, some little way. It doesn't need to be grand, like we talked about before. Someone helping an old lady cross the street, someone who's helping their neighbor bring their groceries in because they're disabled or injured or so. Like, I don't know, whatever it may be. There's so many different ways that being a patriot is being like a good citizen and being adding value to the country, to the community. And so there's so many different ways that can manifest. But cool. I think this was good. We got the story out there, story of Patriot, story of how we started it. For those of you who are wanting to hear more about Patriot Hard Seltzer, you can visit our website, patriotseltzer.com. You can go to our Instagram and TikTok. It's at Patriot Seltzer. Yep. Anything else you want to add?
I don't know. We have a lot going for us. I want to, thank everyone that is listening that has supported us thus far. We're just getting started. It's a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what we do even a year, 2 years from now, because we've been rocking and rolling just to get to this point. Definitely. But yeah, I'm excited.
Cool. Sky's the limit. All right. Thank you guys. We will see you next time.
Cool. Sweet.